Tonight's segment has been interpreted by Auslan Stage Left. Enjoy. Have you ever wanted to play a Japanese game by a German mathematician about a Viking boat? No? Well, tonight we're going to play that game, which is called Viking Seesaw, which is a little stacking game in a little box like this, where you are trying to stack different pieces onto effectively a seesaw, balancing back and forward. It's a fun little dexterity game. More important than the game is my guest tonight. I'm joined by Celeste, who is an Auslan interpreter through Auslan Stage Left. Celeste, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Now, I first saw you perform with the Violent Femmes, I think is a fair way to say it. And I was like, this is I'd done a little bit of Auslan during uni, not enough. I can't really remember much. I've got a terrible accent, but I found it interesting to watch you perform the songs effectively. And I'd seen an Auslan performance before with like a musical, and I sort of like, oh, I get that because it's, you know, that you have a narrative, you're sort of helping to communicate the story, and then you've also got the visual element. And when I saw a band, I'm like, this feels like it's, if you are deaf, you are sort of, from my thought there was like, you're missing such a huge amount of the performance. Is there much point interpreting it? And then so the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, well, you don't want people to just miss out entirely. And then that's why I sort of was like, let's talk to some people.
I love that.
Am I on the money at all about why this is important?
Yeah, I really like that thought process that you came from, I'm not really sure about this, just merely because you haven't had the exposure or you didn't have the knowledge really. And I think a lot of people come from that background. They just haven't had the exposure to the deaf community, perhaps haven't met a deaf person before, haven't seen interpreting done before. So we were doing interpreting alongside with the Violent Femmes that night that you saw us. And I think I love that you saw that happening and you had that, I guess, like an epiphany, right? How that works and how that impacts someone who's going to attend that show and using our service. So I like that you had that moment where you were like, oh, hey, this is how that works, and how someone's then accessing a show that they wouldn't otherwise have had access to. So I think that's really cool that we were able to facilitate that for you.
Less cool is my first move. I was like, I'm gonna just be greedy and use the heaviest piece, and immediately punished. So it's your turn now. You've got a little bit of a counterweight now with my gold piece there. So how long have you been an Auslan interpreter?
Oh, that's a good question. It's been about 10 years now, yeah. And through that time, I've done some qualifications and some study. I'm going to use this one because it just looks really cool. I like it, and I think it's really light, so I'm probably being quite sneaky there. Ooh. It's a bit daunting placing it on there.
So you've done a number of different qualifications, so study to learn the language.
Yes.
Was it something that was, obviously people pick it up in different speeds. Have you learned other languages besides Auslan, or is this the first sort of second language that you've learned?
I would say it's the other language that I have the most knowledge in other than English, but I have picked up other little bits of other languages throughout the way. I have a bachelor's degree with a major in linguistics, so throughout that I've studied little tidbits of other languages, but definitely not fluent in anything else. But yeah, I just love languages in general, but Auslan has a special place in my heart.
Because obviously, and I said this before filming, is when you are interpreting, especially a show, music or performance, you are also performing. So there is also quite expressive in the way you're doing it. Is that something that draws you to the work?
I think you're right, it's really expressive. So expression, so facial expression, and also body language is a really important part of the language. But what draws me to the work is more the reactions from the deaf audience. So it's not necessarily who we're interpreting for, or the space, or the music itself. You know, whether I'm interpreting for my personal favourite band, or a band I haven't heard of, a new discovery, or perhaps even music that I don't particularly love. It's more about the response from the deaf audience that really is the most exciting thing. When you can get someone really feeling it and having all those emotions that we have when we go to an event, a festival or something that we've paid all that money for a ticket for, when we can see someone having that excitement, you can really tell when someone's getting really into it. That is the best feeling, and that is why I keep doing it.
So, using the Violent Femmes as an example, so that was they were playing their first two albums, so you sort of knew what was going in for at least a lot of the show. In a performance like that, are you learning the songs beforehand, or are you interpreting blind, like on the day, just going from hearing and your knowledge of the language and?
So are we working on the fly?
Yeah,
Is that what you mean?
That's a way to word it.
It is one way.
Yep.
Just checking, is it my turn?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I might try and use a heavier piece.
Yep.
I don't know if that's a good idea or a bad idea. Can I stack them?
You can, yeah.
Okay.
Anywhere on this side.
Anywhere on this side. I think I'm shaking a bit. Oh.
Ooh, still safe.
All right. Do I get time to prepare? Yes, often. So we do a lot of I'll take
that.
We do a lot of self-research. So sometimes we get a set list beforehand, but it can be quite close to a show, which you can understand. Artists like to have that flexibility. And then even if we get one, they might change their mind. They might have a new song released just the night before, the day of, and we have no control over that. They have their own creative freedom, of course.
Yep.
But we have to do a lot of research. So we use the internet, fan forums. Fans are amazing. They put up so much information, so we can go, oh great, okay, they just performed in Auckland and they've done all this set list. We'll look that up and do our research. I've joined a couple of fan forums for different things. I joined a Midnight Oil fan forum and they were amazing for having all these interpretations of the songs and meanings and unpacking things, and that was very helpful for me. But yeah, we do that, but there are times when we have to sort of work just on the spot and go, okay, new song, amazing. They've just announced, hey, we're doing this new song, and we go, great, we're doing this new song. Well, here I go, and we do have to work on the fly. Yeah, and sometimes it's a rap, and sometimes it's a lovely slow folk song, and it can be anything. Yeah.
That was my one thing that I really should have tried to get to. Is I really would have loved to have seen Hamilton with an Auslan interpreter or interpreters, because I imagine that would be.
I got to see it.
Yeah,
I bought tickets to go and see it interpreted, because the interpreters that did that were absolutely phenomenal, and it was great. Yeah, you missed out.
Yeah, because I've seen. Yeah, I think Chicago was the one I saw interpreted, which is a show I didn't particularly love, but I actually enjoyed it a lot more because I was watching that sort of second performance within the sort of show, whereas her like here's the show, and then yes, they're dancing, and I'm more interested in how they're signing and how they're being expressive, and I found that way more interesting than the show, which I think is a credit to the person interpreting, and also maybe my disinterest in the show.
Well, I think it can be quite a positive thing though, like, because I often think when I'm interpreting, I'm focusing on the deaf attendees and the people who are using the service. But then you also think, well, hey, there's other people in the audience. Maybe that person over there is a nurse. That person is seeing our service. Later on, that person goes to work, and then maybe a deaf person attends where they're working and needs their service as a nurse. They're going to think, hey, there are interpreters, and maybe that person has more likelihood of getting interpreters provided for them in that hospital setting. So I think that awareness is a beautiful thing, and the more that we can bring it out there in the way that we're working, then hopefully we can influence other spaces just by bringing a positive attention to the language, giving people a good experience. So hopefully we're doing that.
So thanks for playing a little bit of Viking Seesaw. I think you're ahead. I've got 2 of these penalty blocks. I am just not a great stacker. But thanks for also sort of showcasing the work you do and why it's important.
Thanks for having me.